woman is attacked in her own home by something no one can see, touch, or prove exists. The police can't help. The doctors have an explanation. The attacks keep coming anyway. Carla Moran is a single mother in Los Angeles with 3 kids and a life she holds together almost entirely on her own. She works, takes night classes, and looks after her kids. One evening, she comes home, puts the children to bed, and sits down at her vanity to brush her hair. Something in the room changes. She hears breathing, then something hits her. She's assaulted in her own bedroom by a force she cannot see and cannot fight. When it's over, the room is empty. Her son, Billy, hears his mom screaming and rushes into the room. The children are terrified. Carla searches the house. The windows are locked. There's no one in the house. Later that night, she's lying in bed when the room comes apart around her. A bottle explodes. The curtains rip from the rod. The night table skitters across the floor and nearly hits her. She shouts for her son, Billy, grabs the girls, and they run. She bundles all 3 children into the car. In her panic, she forgets her keys, goes back inside alone to get them, and the bedroom door collapses off its hinge toward her as she passes it. She makes it out. She drives them to her friend Cindy's house, and they stay the night. The next morning, Carla is driving to work when the wheel wrenches itself out of her hands. The accelerator goes to the floor without her foot on it. The door locks snap down on their own. The entity steers the car at full speed toward the Santa Monica Pier. Carla manages to regain control of the wheel at the last second and twists hard. Cindy urges her to see a psychiatrist. That's where she meets Dr. Snyderman, a young psychiatric resident who listens to her account carefully and without flinching. He's methodical, precise, and he reaches a conclusion quickly. Carla's history explains everything. An abusive father, a minister who held her in ways a father shouldn't, a boyfriend in New York who treated her badly, and her first husband who died violently. Dr. Snyderman tells her that the mind, under that kind of sustained pressure, can generate external attacks, redirecting pain that originated inside. The entity isn't supernatural, he says. It's a symptom. He gives her a ride home that night when her lift doesn't show. In the car, Carla lays out her history without much prompting and tries to learn more about Carla. She is specific and unflinching about it, and it's clear she's been carrying it alone for a long time. He has an expression that goes beyond clinical concern. That night, the entity comes back. The attack happens in her bathroom. When it's over, Carla has bite marks on her body and bruising across her back and shoulders in positions she couldn't have reached herself. Dr. Snyderman tells her she may be inflicting the injuries during a dissociative episode, with no conscious memory of doing so. Carla listens to all of it. She doesn't argue. She goes home. The next attack happens in the living room with all 3 children present. The entity grabs Carla while Billy, Kim, and Julie are watching. Billy tries to fight it off, swinging his fists at the air in front of his mother. Sparks fly around the room as the entity picks him up and spins him like he weighs nothing. The girls are screaming. Billy ends up on the floor, his wrist fractured, while Carla stares at a point in the room where she can see something the children can't. By the time she tries to get Billy to look, it's gone. Dr. Snyderman and a panel of senior psychiatrists hear Carla's account. Carla leaves the room, and the panel comes to a consensus. It's schizophrenia. Dr. Snyderman pushes back, but only gently. The department head, Dr. Weber, tells him to let her go and close the case. Snyderman can't do it. While Carla is alone in Cindy's apartment one evening, the entity arrives, and the house rips itself apart around her. Furniture moves, windows burst, objects fly across the room. Carla is thrown to the floor and covers her head, screaming while the room disintegrates around her. Cindy and her partner, George, come home to find the apartment demolished. George thinks Carla did it herself, but Cindy and George were there. They saw it happen. After that, Cindy stops trying to explain it away. The 2 of them start looking for different answers. At a local bookstore, Carla overhears 2 researchers arguing about a paranormal case. They're parapsychologists, Gene Kraft, precise and quick, and Joe Mahan, quieter and careful. She interrupts their argument. She tells them she has both the phenomena they're discussing, and they can come to her house and see for themselves. They arrive skeptical. They set up monitoring equipment throughout the house and run baseline readings over several sessions. What they capture doesn't fit their reference data. Objects move without contact. Cold spots register in sealed rooms. Electrical anomalies match Carla's reported attack times exactly. One camera captures a light formation above the bedroom closet that none of them can account for. They don't pack up and leave. They bring the photos to their supervisor, Dr. Cooley, the head of the university's parapsychology lab. Dr. Cooley examines the evidence and stays cautious. But she comes to the house herself. The entity shows up. A green vapor gathers on the far wall, coalescing into a shape that seems to be testing whether it wants to be seen. It brightens, pulsates, then explodes in a shower of sparks. Every person in the room sees it. Dr. Cooley is shaken, but she doesn't commit to a conclusion. Out in the hallway afterward, she tells Kraft and Mahan that what they need is a controlled environment, proper equipment, and funding. She knows where to get all three. Dr. Sneederman hears about the parapsychologists and drives to the house. He finds Carla surrounded by equipment and confronts her directly. Bringing in researchers who validate the supernatural explanation is making her worse, he says. He's controlled about it. He genuinely believes it. Carla lets him finish, then tells him she's done with his theory. They argue, and it becomes more than a professional disagreement. He shouts at her, and she tells him to leave. He goes, but not before stopping to ask Billy to call him if anything changes. Jerry, Carla's boyfriend, arrives back in town after weeks on the road. He doesn't know what's been happening. Carla tries to explain what's been happening to her, choosing her words carefully. Jerry doesn't believe her, but he tells her he's done traveling, and he's staying. He promises her the attacks will stop because he'll be there. He steps out of the bedroom briefly. When he comes back, Carla is on the bed and can't move. Something has her. Her body responds to a presence he can't see or touch. He tries to reach her and gets thrown across the room into the dresser. He gets up shaking. He doesn't know what he's looking at. Billy hears it, runs in from the hallway, sees Jerry standing over his mother, and goes for him. The three of them end up at the hospital. Sneederman is there when they arrive. In the waiting room, Jerry tells him exactly what he saw. He describes it in specific, reluctant detail. Her body responding to something, the pressure visible on her without any source he could identify. He's not crazy. He's a salesman who travels for a living, and he's never had an experience like it. By the time he finishes, Snyderman's face has shifted. Jerry says that he can't come back. He doesn't. Carla is handling this entirely alone now. Dr. Cooley has secured a grant and presents Kraft and Meehan with a plan. They'll build a full-scale replica of Carla's home on a university soundstage, furnished with her own belongings, lit and timed to match her house exactly. The entity has shown that it follows Carla. They'll lure it into the controlled space. Then, a network of liquid helium jets mounted on the catwalk above will lower the temperature so quickly that, if the entity has any physical mass, it'll be frozen in place before it can react. If it has no mass, nothing will happen, and they'll know it's purely psychological. Carla agrees to be the bait. Dr. Sneederman gets access to the lab and finds Carla alone in the replica house. He tells her the helium is lethal, the researchers are using her, and he's asking her to leave with him. She asks him if he's there as her doctor. He admits he doesn't entirely know why he's there. She looks at him for a moment, then walks onto the set. The entity arrives. The instruments in the observation room register a drop in temperature and spikes in electromagnetic readings. Carla stands in the center of the replica living room, and the researchers give the order. The helium jets fire. The temperature crashes. Then the entity takes control of the helium assembly and turns it on Carla. The nozzle tracks her through the replica room by room. It blasts the bedroom, chases her into the bathroom, and drives her through the hallway and kitchen. The glass safety cubicle that the researchers built melts under a direct blast. Rather than trapping the entity weaponizes the trap. Carla is in genuine mortal danger, assaulted not by the entity's usual methods, but by the freezing jets themselves. Carla makes it back to the living room. She's shaking with cold, her clothes steaming. She doesn't run. She shouts up at the nozzle, taking aim above her. She tells it that she has found something in herself that she can never reach. She tells it to take its best shot. The hoses Kraft has been wrestling with finally tear loose, dumping the full helium payload into the environment. Dr. Snyderman runs in through a side entrance and pulls Carla down behind a pile of wreckage as the cloud passes over them. When it clears, the frozen shape in the center of the room is the size of a house. 20 feet of sputtering, glowing ice with something pulsing inside it. Everyone stares at it. Then cracks appear. The ice explodes outward in a blast that throws everyone off their feet. The entity is gone. Dr. Weber, the department head who has been present throughout, picks up his glasses from the floor and tells Dr. Cooley he isn't sure what he saw. She tells him he saw exactly what he thinks he saw, and she is furious. Mahan pulls up the data. Everything is destroyed. The experiment captured nothing. The following day, Carla takes a taxi back to her house. The furniture has been cleared out. She's leaving for Texas. The front door slams behind her. A voice, low and distorted, fills the empty hallway. Carla opens the front door, walks out, and greets her two daughters. Cindy is waiting with the car while Billy loads the suitcases. Carla gets in, and they drive away. The closing title card is deliberately stark. It confirms that the family moved to a new home and that the attacks have eased, but they haven't completely stopped. The film is adapted from Frank De Felitta's 1978 novel of the same name, which drew on an alleged real case in Los Angeles involving a woman named Doris Bither. The case was investigated by researchers from UCLA in the mid-1970s and generated substantial documentation and photographic evidence, though the case's authenticity has been contested. Director Sidney J. Fury shot the film that year. The attack sequences required extensive practical engineering, air pressure rigs, precisely timed wire work, and a prosthetic body double built to simulate the invisible force effects on Carla's body. Critical reception on release was divided. Some reviewers found the film exploitative on the grounds that it dramatized real sexual violence against a named real person for entertainment. Others recognized it as doing something unusual for the genre, presenting the psychiatric and paranormal frameworks with equal seriousness and refusing to resolve which one is correct. The entity is never explained, never identified, and never defeated. If you enjoyed this recap, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help the channel. Thanks for watching.